Hey everybody, it's Kelly with Inky Hands Warm Hearts. How are you guys? I am so excited to bring to you this really fun card. We're going to be doing quite a bit of blending with our Stampin' Blends for our coloring for this card. And overall, this stamp set is just a really beautiful stamp set. It is a part of a bundle, which means that you can purchase matching dies to go with this stamp set. It is a really beautiful one, and it is in the January to June 2022 mini catalog. If you do not have a demonstrator and you need a copy of that catalog and you would like for me to be your demonstrator, I would be happy to send you those. Just let me know, either in the comment below, or you can contact me at my link or at my website, inkyhandswarmhearts.com. So let's go ahead and get started. We will start on this really pretty card. All right, let's get those out of the way temporarily. We're going to start with a piece of 8.5 by 5.5 inch Misty Moonlight cardstock, and I'm going to use my bone folder, and I'm going to go ahead and fold that in half. It's scored at the 4 1/4 inch mark, and if you just give it a nice little burnish there, it will stay nice and closed. I'm going to grab a scrap piece of copy paper so that we can do our stamping on the bottom of our piece. So let me grab that real quick, and then we can get started with our actual stamping of our background. The background is done by stamping over and over with this really pretty image here. It is the second of the 2 images in the stamp set. So we are going to grab our Misty Moonlight ink, and I'm just going to ink it up, get it nice and inked. All right, so let's go ahead and we'll stamp one there. And as I stamp, I'm going to be turning my stamp around so that it's not always coming in the same place. Let's do this one this direction and put a small grouping of flowers there. That looks pretty good. We'll come in this way on this side. Then we'll turn our stamp again, and we'll come this direction. That looks awesome. And then we'll get in this little corner here maybe and put a little bit there. That looks good. Let's just put the image the right way, right here. All right. And then let's fill in this little corner, maybe with these flowers. And then I'm going to just add little pieces here and there where it needs a little bit of filling in. There we go. That looks pretty good to me. What do you guys think? While I have this out, I'm going to go ahead and stamp on a piece of Balmy blue. I thought I had it here on my table, but I seem to have misplaced it. So we'll just keep going and see if it shows up. Oh, here it is. Okay. I'm going to stamp the sentiment at the same time. I'm going to go ahead and use the Thank You for Inspiring Me, and that's also going to go in this Misty Moonlight ink. And I'll go ahead and clean them both at the same time. Bring it down here where I can see what I'm doing. And I will position that right over my piece. And it says, "Thank you for inspiring me." I think that's really pretty, the sentiment. So I'll set that to the side, and let's put this ink away. All right, I'm gonna clean the stamps because I'm gonna be using that same floral image again, so I will need it, but it's going to be inked this time in our Memento Tuxedo Black ink, so I need to get all the blue off of it. My pad is kind of saturated. I probably should have cleaned it before I started filming this video, but the nice thing about these chamois is that you can scrub your stamp directly. It doesn't have to be in here. This is just an old stamp case that I have it in, but you can just take it right to your stamp and scrub it directly like that. All right, let's move on to the next step. I'm gonna set these two pieces up and out of camera temporarily. All right, so as you can see on our card here, we have a main image that is nice and big. It is a beautiful stamp set, and here's the main image. I'm going to ink it in the Memento Tuxedo Black, and I'm gonna rub it on there first just to get it ink in all the spots, and then I'm gonna pat it up and down and deposit that ink. I just want to make sure that I have a good coverage all over. This stamp has kind of like faded areas and solid areas, so it's kind of a different situation. I'm going to turn it this way so I can see what I'm doing, and I'm going to make sure that I get all of it here on my piece like so. I'm going to angle it a little bit, I think. There we go. This is a pretty big stamp, so I want to make sure that I'm getting pressure on all the areas, and I am. And you can see how there's some light areas and dark areas. That is intentional. It's how the stamp is made. So I'm going to set that to the side, and then I'm going to grab my other piece, and this is why I needed to clean this stamp, because we're also going to ink this one up. And again, I'm just going to rub over the top, and then I'm going to give it a nice pat of ink. All right, so let's go ahead and position this one on its piece, just like that, and press it into place. And even though this one's not as large, I just want to make sure that I get good coverage, so there we go. All right, let's go ahead and clean our stamps one more time, and then we're going to get started coloring with the ink blending. All right, there's that one. And let's get this big one. The chamois is a pretty cool tool. How it really grabs that ink right off of the stamps. All right. That's all the stamping we're going to be doing on this card. So now comes our coloring. So let's go ahead and get set up for that. These Stampin' Blends, I'm going to move my card over here, hopefully you guys can still see it, are what we will be using. I have a variety of colors. When you purchase them, they come in 2 parts. So you will get a light and a dark of each color. This is the color lifter. I like to use it if I have too much saturation in one spot and I can pull color from my image. This is our Misty Moonlight. I'm going to start with this one, and it's the light Misty Moonlight. I'm not using the dark. So as you can see on these flowers here, I have outlined those first. And I'm going to actually start with this image here. So we're going to start with the inside of the card, which is this. And so you can see on this smaller flower, I've outlined that one. So we're going to go around and outline this flower. Just like that. And then I'm going to use this and the areas that the artist has given me for some dark areas of shading, I'm going to go ahead and outline it also. I'm also going to do some shading on these smaller flowers, although I'm not outlining those. So I'm just going to add a little bit of this dark blue, which is our light Misty Moonlight, onto these flowers because I just want some highlight on them. So that's it for that color. So now we're going to start with the next darkest color, which is our dark Balmy Blue. And that is the color that I have colored inside of this flower right here. So I'm going ahead and filling it in. And as you can see, I'm going over those dark lines. That helps to blend them into this darker balmy blue color that I'm using, and they don't stand out quite as stark. So I'm going ahead and giving them a little bit of color. I'm also going to use this color on my other flowers. So I'm just gonna come through just lightly and cover over those dark spots that I made, just blending them in. And that's it for the dark balmy blue. Now the light balmy blue, I'm gonna finish coloring in the smaller flowers. All right, now I did a little bit forget about the big flower, but we're gonna use this, also this light balmy blue, and I'm gonna go around here and I'm outlining my flower. I'm going around a few times just to really get that color in. It's a lighter color, so I definitely want to stroke it on there and make sure that it is going to show up. And here's my last petal. And I'm gonna stroke it over the artist's work right like that. Just making sure it's nice and dark. All right, now I'm going to use our next color, which is for the leaves. So this is our dark Just Jade, and I'm going to use that to outline all of my leaves. And I'm also going to stroke some color along the lines that the artist has given me on the leaves themselves. And you don't have to be too careful. It doesn't have to be perfect. And every time you color, it's going to be a little bit different. And I'm just going to go over the darkest parts when I do this stem. All right. Now I'm going to fill in the leaves with the next color, which is our light mint macaron. And I really like this color because it works well with the Just Jade, but it is a pale green and it complements the Just Jade, and it really gives the leaves and stem a really pretty color. And we're blending in, like you can see, the Just Jade outlines that I've made with this color. All right. Now, the last color is Pool Party, and I realized that I missed my lines here on the inside. Oops, I grabbed the wrong tip. These have a brush tip and a bullet tip, and I'm using the bullet tip today to do what I want. So I just want to make sure that I went over those. Now this is our light Pool Party, and it is just a really faint color. I'm going to use the brush tip, and I'm just going to go over the middle of this flower. It's a really pale color. It's kind of like an aqua, and it helps to blend in those lines. I may go over with the dark balmy blue again, because I think I want my lines just a little bit darker than they were. And it will work really well with that aqua. There we go. It stands out a little better now. All right. So that is our coloring on our piece. Now for the large one, we would color it in the same manner, just how I did. I outlined with the dark on the flowers that I wanted to be dark, and with the light, I added the light. So you can see that right there. Now, I went ahead and colored those ahead of time, so you wouldn't have to sit and watch me do them. But we're going to go ahead and cut out this flower right here, and we are going to cut that out with our mini Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine. So let me get that so that you can see it in action. It's a really fun machine. It's a little one, so it's really portable. It's super awesome, and I love it. so we will get it ready. These pieces of tape I have on there are purple tape, just to help hold my items in place. I'm going to be using platform number 1, and then I'm going to use cutting plate number 2. I'm going to grab my die, which is from the dies that match, and we're going to grab the one that matches that floral image, which is this one right here. I'm going to lay it on my piece, and I'm going to line up that outline with the outside of my flower. I kind of have it too far to the side. Let me move it to the middle. Hopefully you guys can see. I'm trying to line it up and let you see in the camera. All right. When I'm happy with the placement, I just need to move it over slightly. It's hard to do and still show you. There we go. I'm going to go ahead and take my plate and put it over the top and hold that in place. Just by keeping my thumb there, it will hold it until it gets underneath the rollers of the machine. And then I'm going to hold the top and continue to crank it. All right, when it comes out the other side, we're going to lift off. I'm going to get my die out of the way there, and there is my image. All right. Now time to assemble our card. So let's grab the pieces that I moved out of the camera, which were, there we go. All right. So ahead of time, I have die cut these 2 pieces here. They are labels from the seasonal labels dies. It's a really large set of dies. I'll show you quickly. Here they are. And they go with the Christmas season stamp set. They are available to purchase separately, the stamp set and the dies. I love the dies because the labels are so beautiful in them. This is what the Christmas season stamp set looks like. And like I said, it's still available and it still works for winter. It's basically pine cones and holly and lots of leaves. So it really can be used in the winter time, not just for Christmas. All right, so let's go ahead and put our card together. So this piece here, I want this label to kind of ride up and down, and then I'm going to use this piece here to cover the top part of the label and just set it in place. So let me go ahead and grab my adhesive. I'm going to use my seal adhesive to attach my label, and this is it right here. So we will get it started. There we go. And I'm just going to put some on my label, and then we will attach the label. I'm going to move this out of the way. About there. It looks good to me. What do you guys think? All right. Now for the actual floral image itself, we are going to use dimensionals. So I'm grabbing those. They're just right here. And I'm going to peel them off this plate here. Make sure that I use quite a few of them so that I'm generous with them so they stick nice even in the middles. I want to go all the way around the edges here. That looks good, and maybe one more in the center right here and another one right here. All right, that looks good to me. I'm going to use my take your pick tool, and we're going to pull those off. I love to use this to remove the backs of these dimensionals because they tend to have static on them. And what happens is when you take them off, they end up all over your craft room floor. But when you get them with the take your pick tool, they all end up on the point and you can throw them away very easily. All right. So here we go. We're going to go ahead and figure out the placement of our floral piece. We want it kind of angled like this, and it's going to cover that top piece. We're just going to have one of the bumps sticking out right there, and I just want to make sure that I have enough room to press it into place. There we go. All right, now we're going to attach this thank you for inspiring me right here. But before we do that, we have to figure out where we want to place our twine. And this twine is in the Flowers for All Seasons combo pack. I really love it. I love the sparkle that's in there, and I just think it's so pretty. So you saw how I wound it around my finger. That's all we're going to do here. I'm going to stick 3 of these down, and then I'm going to put the twine. I'm going to kind of put these ends, if I can find the other one, there we go, here, and I'm going to put one of these little dimensionals on it to hold them down. All right, I may not need this middle one because of that. All right, I'm going to add another one right there. All right, so we'll pull the backs off of that. The rest of it is going to be free. And let's get the backs off of the 2 ends. And then we're going to lay this thank you for inspiring me right over the top. And that will hold my twine in place. I'm going to move it over slightly if I can. I think I already stuck it down, but we'll see. Oh yeah, there it goes. I don't want it right on the edge of the card. I just want it slightly off. There we go. So it says, thank you for inspiring me. And then that has the twine just wrapped around. And now we're going to do the inside. So on the inside, I have everything laid flat. So we'll go ahead and grab the seal adhesive again. And I'm going to go ahead and give it a couple pieces here, so that it stays nice and attached. This adhesive is super sticky, so it does work really well. And I'm going to lay it near the bottom and centered as best I can on either side. You know, life's not perfect, so handmade cards aren't either, but that's why they're so fun, because they're handmade. Now for this one, I'm not going to use the seal because I need a little bit more adhesive in some small spots. And so I'm going to use this wet adhesive. It's our multi-purpose adhesive by Tombow. I call it the green and white glue. And I'm just going to kind of wiggle it around on this piece and around all the little areas. That way it won't lift up inside my card. So I will just pick this up and use my fingers on the edges. And we're going to lay this across here, and it's going to cover the top, the middle, and part of the other little piece here. Just like that. I'm going to wiggle it into place. And the other thing I love about that wet glue is that you can mess with it a little bit. And then you're just going to put some pressure on there and really get it to stick to the cardstock. And that's the inside of our card. Isn't that so pretty? So there's our card. The last step is going to be to put the embellishments on the front. And you see I've added 3 embellishments. These are the blue adhesive backed gems. They come in a light blue and a dark blue. And I'm going to use the darker blue today because it matches the darkness of the back of our card. I'm going to put one here. And I'm using the putty end of my Take Your Pick tool. The nice thing about your Take Your Pick tool is there's lots of pieces you can use and attach on this tool, which is why it's called Take Your Pick. You get to pick what you want to use on it. So there is the third one, and that looks amazing. I always love the bling at the end. It always just sets the cards off, don't you think? I think so. All right, well, that's it for today. I've taught you how to do a little bit of ink blending with our Stampin' Blend inks. They're alcohol-based markers, and they're amazing. I highly recommend them, and I hope that you like them as well. If you need any information for ordering, or if you need to get some catalogs from me or have me be your demonstrator and you have questions, I'd be happy to answer them. Just let me know that you need me, and I will be happy to do so. I do blog every single day on Inky Hands Warm Hearts, so there's always lots of inspiration for you there. So definitely hang out at inkyhandswarmhearts.com. I really appreciate you watching today. Thank you so much. I'm kind of new to YouTube, about 3 months in or so. So I would really appreciate it if you'd give me a like, a comment, a share, and subscribe. And then you can share this video with your friends. I would greatly appreciate that as well. And thanks again. Please do check out my blog, Inky Hands Warm Hearts. I will put the link in the description below, as well as all the products I used to make this card. So thank you again for watching. I'm so grateful to have you on my channel. This is Kelly with Inky Hands Warm Hearts. Happy stamping!